All right, so after some technical difficulties, we're live here on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, the Bills have beat the Detroit Lions score of 48-42. I'm here with my guy Nick, so we're going to talk a little bit about what we think from the game and everything that I think that we saw today was a good example of what these two teams are capable of. But it also shows that the Buffalo Bills are well coached, Nick, and also like they're on a little bit of a roll right now. I understand they gave up 42 points, but um, first and foremost, like what was different about today for the Buffalo Bills versus like last week losing to losing to the Rams by a score of 44-42?
Man, I think this week, that loss last week, I think it put us in the gear of where we needed to be on the field and off the field. And then, as you heard, I don't know if you listened into the pregame ESPN sit down, but they said that the Bills weren't even able to make it to the practice facility on Thursday due to a blizzard. And I mean, that just shows that they came out hot and ready, just like Little Caesars.
I mean, you obviously you play some professional football in a sense. You have an idea of what the preparation is like, and obviously, the Buffalo Bills came off of a loss last week that I thought wasn't really a true reflection of what the team is. It was a reflection of what the offense was, but we talked a little bit during the game. We were watching, and we said, was the Bills kind of playing checkers, or were they playing chess by in a sense of not reviewing everything? I mean, do you think the Bills held back last week after everything you saw today?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I do. I mean, we seen it today. We seen it the week prior. I mean, the Bills just have that style offense that they can go out and put up numbers. I mean, like you said, last week we lost with that, what was a 44-42 deficit. I mean, and then this week we come back and put up 48-42. I mean, you can't be mad when you're putting up 40 points a game.
I think the biggest thing too today is obviously the Bills didn't commit turnovers, and that's playing clean football, and that should win you every single game that you play. When you especially put up 40 points and you don't have a turnover, that's the first loss in history to a team that was like the teams were like 245-0 at that point. So that's good enough to win football games every week. Now we saw obviously this week the Bills played really good defense to start the first quarter. They got off the field, they created a couple 3-and-outs. At that point, I think it was Buffalo in the driver's seat, and they never seemed to leave the driver's seat. But was there like a point during the game you felt like maybe that Detroit was going to start to kind of climb back?
Oh man, I mean, Detroit always comes back after that halftime break. I mean, they're always ready to come back and drive. So I mean, coming out of halftime, I think it was a little bit nerve wracking, but you know, shout out Little G. What's up? Playing Josh Allen. Look at that. Yeah.
So,
And,
guys, if you're just not tuning in, this is myself and my buddy Nick right here in the Mafia Sports Bar pregame, postgame coverage for the Buffalo Bills. We're live on game days. We got you covered for everything that you need to know for the upcoming matchup. And I'll tell you what, Nick, I predicted quite a few things on this morning's podcast. I shouldn't call it a podcast. This morning's live show for the pregame show. I said that Pat Mahomes was probably going to be carted off the field by 3 coaches today, and that happened. Number one, I felt that Josh Allen was going to play a great game. I also felt that Khalil Shakir was going to get a touchdown at some point. And I thought that Keon Coleman was going to have maybe over 100 yards. That didn't quite happen, but he did have a nice catch. Were you a little disappointed that we didn't see more of Keon Coleman, or do you think that we saw enough from him in his first game back from injury?
Oh, I agree with that last statement there. I mean, he did what he had to do. He did his 111th on that field, coming back off a wrist injury, and that's not easy to come back off of, especially when you got a QB like Josh Allen back there zipping that ball. And I mean, it's super hard to catch that ball. So I think he did what he had to do.
So big thing today too. Everybody was saying the Bills' run defense was like non-existent, right? Like that they were gonna have a hard time with the 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. It didn't seem like the Detroit Lions. To me, it felt like the Detroit Lions just weren't clicking. It almost looked like they were the Bills in earlier parts of the season where they stalled in the first half and then they found a way to make it competitive at the end. But Josh Allen continued his MVP winning season, in my opinion. I think today locked it up. I mean, you beat the number 1 and number 2 teams in the NFL in the Detroit Lions. And now, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs too, right? So we have 3 games remaining, Nick. We have to beat the Jets once, the New England Patriots twice, and we would possibly still have a chance at that number 1 seed. Are you concerned about getting that number 1 seed, or are you just really ready to ride with this team regardless?
Oh, man, I'm ready to ride. I mean, yeah, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, they started to click this week, but it's too late. I mean, they were a good duo back when they were on the Packers together. They were running the league, and yeah, but time has come to where it's time for the new age, and that's Josh Allen and Keon Coleman.
Yeah, I saw a lot from Dalton Kincaid today. I also saw a lot from James Cook, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis. And it makes you wonder, what was Joe Brady? Was he holding them back last week? I mean, you got to keep some of these guys fresh for some of these games. And especially, I always get nervous if you're going to win a game and then you might have to face this team later on in the season in the playoffs because how hard it is to win twice against a team in the same season. It's just that tough. I mean, divisional games are tough. You see teams that aren't good in their division compete with teams in their division. So the Bills have the AFC East locked up. Like we've seen them beat the Chiefs and the Lions. At this point, what teams are still on the board that you wouldn't want to play against, or that you feel like maybe the Bills don't want to run into? And by the way, let's go ahead. Let's crack open a cold one here on the Mafia Sports Bar with myself, the Sauce God at Buffalo Sauce God, and my guy here, Nick. This is now your third show?
Yeah,
third show. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about the Buffalo Bills victory over the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Salute. Cheers to everybody out there. I'll tell you what, man. I said earlier on the pregame show that this was a chance, for the Bills to kind of and the Lions to put on a great performance. I never had that scared feeling. So we're talking a little bit about what teams still remain that we would want to not have to face, or do we still feel like we might not match up well against? What's your take on that?
Man, the only team that really comes to mind is, stepping into this playoff coming. We got the Chiefs. We've done it once. It's super hard to beat a team 2 times in a row, and that's coming from a player's knowledge. Lockport Wildcats, I mean, they are about to push on us right now at the Spartans. But, coming into our third year, I think we're going to be all right with them. And, back to it, I think, just the Ravens. I think, they're showing us a stout offense. Mark Andrews has been showing up lately. Isaiah Likely has been performing like he should be.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, and by the way, guys, if you can't hear us or anything, put in the comments. And actually, let's go ahead and click that comment button right above the banners, and see if we've got anything coming in at this moment. And we do have a couple. I see Chris out there watching, man. I appreciate you for tuning in. He tunes in all the time on YouTube. But the Ravens game. Now, we got smacked by the Ravens. We somehow found that we were possibly in the game still at some point, and then obviously we had that stupid play call offensively, and that set us back. But Lamar Jackson today had, I think he was 21 for 25, 290 yards and 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, he's truly, in my opinion, that guy makes it more of an argument to be MVP over Saquon Barkley. I'll tell you, I don't know if I really want to face the Steelers. Very good defense, very efficient offense at this point. But at the same time, Nick, I think you're going to agree with me when I say that the only team that could beat the Buffalo Bills is themselves. And we saw it today. They never shot themselves in the foot. And if they did, they picked up chunks. They kept it moving. Let's talk overall what we thought was good from the Bills. Let's name 3 things each. Because I think overall, we're seeing Josh Allen leading the charge and proving that he's the most valuable player in football right now. And I'm not about MVP awards, but it's great to see your quarterback get validated after being voted the most overrated player in the league. And come on. Fucking lights out, dude. He's nuts. Josh Allen's play is at an all-time high right now. I love what I'm seeing. He doesn't always have to put up gigantic numbers, but he definitely can. Number 2, I like what I'm seeing out of these receivers. They're definitely becoming more and more reliable with Josh Allen each week. We didn't see much of Amari Cooper today. That's okay, because Khalil Shakir gets his touches. James Cook and the boys were running the football very well. # let James Cook. And also, Dalton Kincaid comes back from injury, and I think that they were never going to rush him back from injury because he is a valuable young player. And yeah, you want to win games, but at the same time, we have been winning games without a lot of top guys in the football field. Number 3, the pass rush today was actually existent. We had 0 sacks against the Rams last week, right? Right away, we got after Jared Goff, and that made him miss some throws that he was definitely capable of making. So I think that's 3 things that you want to really build on moving forward with 3 divisional games left. You have the division already secured, but you want to win these games. You want to continue that dominance in the division, and they right now are on a good path for this. But let's get 3 things from you, Nick, like what you thought the Bills really did well today.
Man, I gotta bounce off what you said there with the pass rush. I mean, coming from a defensive lineman, it's just Ed Oliver. I mean, he had a massive pancake to get to that quarterback and cause a disturbance.
Dude, that's nuts.
I mean, that was just huge. So, like you said, the pass rush. Another thing I really like, man, is that these receivers, no matter how much trash talk or what's getting said from the other team, they keep their level. They keep their heads nice and level. And I mean, Matt Collins showed it today for sure. I mean, there was a couple of times that I thought,
Oh my God,
old
Matt
Bills
Collins.
team. I mean, they might have lost their heads on that one.
So like, legit, Nick. Like, let me say, and I wonder if like they can hear us if we keep it like this. Because honestly, I don't want to have to keep doing that. But if you guys are just not tuning in, it's myself, the Sauce God, my guy Nick. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are on top of the world at 11-3, still second in the AFC. The Chiefs did win today, of course, because they played Jameis Winston and the Browns. By the way, I'll tell you a great podcast idea: Keon Coleman and Jameis Winston. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see that little Florida State connection, all that. But Nick, overall, right now the Buffalo Bills are 11-3, some of the best football that we've ever seen, and they're a well. Hold on. Was that Modown? Okay, now you want to join, huh? Okay.
I was trying.
Hey,
I'm not sure what happened. I was trying to join some different studio. They were talking
dude,
about
we
how
had
the,
some
lion,
issues
how
too.
the
Now,
Lions crying and stuff.
Modown, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
Okay, can you tell me how well you can hear Nick? Because we're actually doing this in person.
I can hear him too.
You hear me? Perfect.
Okay, so all right, Jason, I'm glad that you're here because, dude, we talked about this stuff earlier in the pregame show that there were going to be need to be things that need to be done today, and those things happened. Ed Oliver must be listening to the podcast because I said I want to see more out of him, and he fucking was playing some Texas football.
Yeah,
Jason, give us 3 things right now that you thought the Bills did very, very well tonight that has you feeling optimistic going forward.
The offense executed, man. They were absolutely efficient. Josh did what he did. I told you during the pregame, I said, or our pregame show, I told you he was going to score the first touchdown. And he definitely did, man. He held it down. Defense, obviously, near the end there because of all the injuries, looked a little rough. Even in the garbage kind of time, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary looked bad. It sucks. Cole Bishop now is probably out. Who the fuck knows what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, our secondary is looking kind of sparse here, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
How about the fact too? And I'll let you finish what you were saying about what they did well. We said that we wanted to see some defensive back blitzes, and who comes up with a sack right away? Christian Benford. So that's some things to build on, and I think that showed some good aggressiveness and difference. We saw that not at all against the Rams. It was the same fucking covers the whole game.
Right. So I definitely enjoyed all of those aspects of it. Receivers were on point. Running game was on point. Offensive line looked great. Again, we played a complete game. That's we handled them nicely, man. That was excellent. Again, they put up a ton of points, but that was to be had. I told you, I said take the over.
I mean, that over was like fucking that you could have put the mortgage on that one. We all
easily 50. I was on DraftKings and it was 57.5, I think.
Yeah, that's some serious. Like, you don't see those numbers except for college football when it comes to over unders. But if you guys are just not tuning in, Modown is here with us. Me and Nickel, by the way, their nickname, because he runs the Nickel. You know what I'm saying? Right here in the Mafia Sports Bar, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Detroit Lions 48-42. We're live here having a couple drinks, having a couple smokes. Let us know in the chat what you guys feel. We're right here on Facebook and YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you this much. I really Detroit made it fucking a little spooky at the end.
Yeah.
But I think that's more of a test. That testifies more to the team that they are, because they were able to stay resilient enough to find themselves close. A team puts up 48 on you, you're not going to find yourselves in that game usually. But no, they were right there at the end. That's not a problem with the Bills, though, Jason. Do you think?
I hope not really going forward. I hope they can try to learn from this game and last game. I mean, we can't let 80 points get laid on us in 2 games, man. We barely have that the whole rest of the season put on us. So they definitely got to tighten some things up on defense. But again, we got a lot of injuries. And then fucking who goes out? Who goes out also? Fucking Milano. Hamstring or some fucking groin.
I heard a hamstring.
Christ almighty, dude.
It's just, all right. It's like it'd be cool if like you could turn off the injury setting like in Madden football.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So like we could have a fair chance, because it's like there's always some shit. But I did like the way that we played without our 2 starting safeties today. And I thought that it just shows you, man, that there are guys on this team that can play some great football. There might be times that they're not always in it, but let's be honest, man. This was a game that they wanted to prove to the world that they are for real and that Josh is the MVP. And this game locked up MVP, no?
I would certainly think so. And again, like I told you, we didn't have to worry so much about the safeties in the back end. They're not as much of a deep threat as they are that middle of the field with St. Brown and the running backs and their tight end and shit like that. They don't take a lot of deep shots. But yeah, Josh, again, 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1, 2 through the air. Excellent execution. He had no turnovers again. I mean, I wish that little fucking chest pass would have counted. That would have been nice.
And that's again, that's a moment where we shot ourselves in the foot. Now we're gonna go back to Nick here on this one. What's different about Josh Allen this year? I mean, he is obviously played at an MVP level for most of the years that he's been with since 2020. He's been an MVP type of player for the NFL. What's different about him this year?
Oh man, this year I think he's taking smarter throws. He's getting down on them scrambles. He's not taking them big blows like he has been. I mean, overall, he has his football knowledge has grown dramatically in the last 4 years.
I got a comment on Tom Smith here. I mean, Tom, did you watch the game? Did you see who the Dills have on defense? We were down to our second and third stringers on our secondary. Dude wants to be like, we could be ashamed of ourselves. Look at it both ways. That goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Jason's 1,000% right. I will say this. There's no Aiden Hutchinson out there. It's a different football game. But at the same time, we don't have guys. We haven't had guys for most of the year. And you know what? I had to learn that in Bills Mafia that we can't make excuses. We have to still step up. So, Tom, we appreciate the hate. And, it's because, hey, cheers to you, buddy, because God bless and go Bills and stand tall and bolster the fuck up because the Buffalo Bills are AFC East champs for our 5th year in a row. We're 11-3. And you know what else? They beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, the number 1 and number 2 teams in the NFL. Josh Allen is clearly the most overrated player in the league with playing against nothing but depleted teams week in and week out.
Yeah, we can't beat anybody good for it's ridiculous.
Oh, Miami fucking puts up like 10 on the Browns. It's fucking like they're gold over there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that Chiefs team
who was probably not
over beating the Broncos. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, the Chiefs. When Chiefs fans boo the refs, it's like, how the fuck dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how fucking dare? There was a time right before you got here, Nick, that like there was a hold the Bills got away with. Then I looked at them and I go, they got away with one.
Yep.
First down, but like they got away.
They got away with. Yeah.
But I'm not a biased fan. I'll tell you the fucking truth that there were moments in this game I felt the officiating could have been a little bit different. They taken a long time to make calls and the conversations. I hate that.
Yeah.
Because it makes you think that there's some sort of collusion going on amongst them. And I mean, come on, there's obviously been evidence that there's some times that kind of shit has to be going on, right? But the Buffalo Bills are 11-3, 3 games to go, Jason. Do you still think that they have a shot at pulling out for the number 1 seed in the AFC?
That's only going to depend on Kansas City if they lose. We're going to run the table the rest of the way. I mean, between 2 Pats games and a Jets game, I mean, Jesus Christ. There's no concern there by any means. Really, it just matters if Kansas City gets a loss or 2 in there.
It is, of course, divisional games. I mean, and does that wear you at all, Nick, or like divisional games? I mean, the Jets we have some issues with sometimes. The Patriots, they're gonna fucking probably hire Navy SEALs or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't really bug me all that much. I mean, like I was touching down before Modown came in. I mean, Rodgers and Adams, they had that connection 30 plus years ago when they were on the Packers.
Game today, though,
and they were starting to connect again now that up in New York, but
New Jersey,
New Jersey, New Jersey, Jesus, one of those nights. But and I'm not, and then you got the Pats. I mean.
The Pats right now are a team that obviously has got nothing to play for. They obviously are just trying to get some consistent reps for Drake May. I'm not necessarily concerned about getting the number 1 seed. I just want to get in the dance. I want a healthy fucking squad. And I also would just like some clean officiating the rest of the way. Give us a fair chance. I don't want calls to be in our favor. I just want a fair fucking game. And I thought that was a good part about the referees today. Did you guys think that the refs were pretty solid today overall? I mean, like I said, it took a little bit of time, but.
Yeah, I don't think they really missed too much. I don't think there was any bullshit calls, really.
They let them play,
Okay, it was good.
All right, so I think the biggest thing that the Bills did this week was the run game was there. James Cook was fucking heating up and cooking. it's a dangerous thing when you got Josh putting up 4 total touchdowns, James Cook 2 total touchdowns. Like, he's a fucking touchdown machine this year. And getting a nice catch from Keon Coleman, that's encouraging as well. So if you're just not tuning in, though, this is the Mafia Sports Bar right here on Facebook and YouTube with myself, Saul Scott, Nick, and we call him Nickel. And we got Mo down here also, the head honcho of the Zuba Zone 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Depew. Check them out. Also, this is sponsored by Duff's Famous Wings, Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park, Louis Bar in Attica, and BuffaloSauceGuy.com. So, Nick, I'm feeling good. We're 11-3. Jason, I know you're obviously feeling good too. There's been some great things for this football team. I'm already past the Ram. I've been past the Rams loss. I just want to. I want to get to the playoffs, and I want to do this. I think that this is really the year that we could do it. We have the collective group of guys that showed us today that they could sit in the driver's seat, and it felt like there are times that they were going to maybe lose the driver's seat, but now they go back up 2 touchdowns. The Bills are an experienced team that knows how to get it done. They know how to win crucial football games. At this point, we still have to be worried about Kansas City in the playoffs. We do. And I'm just saying, because they have it. They have it when we want it. So we got to go get it. Jason, what is this Buffalo Bills team going to need to do if they're going to want to find themselves celebrating a Lombardi Trophy in downtown Buffalo?
Number one, get healthy. That's definitely going to be huge, man. I agree with you on that. And just really get a nice momentum, man. Like we need to cruise these next couple of games, get some speed, some headway going in. I think at least we're going to pull out the number.
Anger building up,
Definitely.
It's some anger building up.
We got some home game, obviously for the playoffs to get things rolling and shit like that. So, I mean, if they keep it going, I agree, man. This team looks solid. We didn't need the superstar. Him. We built around him. He's utilizing all of his talents around him. Joe Brady's calling great games.
Oh, he's calling some great football. Yeah. He is. Everything. And Sean McDermott he's doing his job. Head coach. So I think for the Bills, Nick, I think if they're gonna do this, they gotta just, number one, know who you are, be a fucking alpha male, and never ever do what the Sabres do. And it's when they get a lead, they're afraid to lose it. Okay. The Bills need to just understand when I say the whole fucking game, keep your foot on the gas. Because right now, you don't need to play with a chip on your shoulder. You've proven time and out that you are the best team in the AFC East, and that you're one of the best teams in the AFC and one of the best teams in the NFL. It's not about that. But now it's about proving that this group of guys really has something special. And every single person that left Buffalo last year, we lost some major guys. That it wasn't a reflection of us. And again, it just proves that the Bills are the only team that can beat themselves. So I think this win showed us a lot. I did feel one weird thing, though, in the game, and I'll tell you guys, that I felt like Detroit kind of like wasn't really doing wasn't really showing very much at the beginning. But then it's like, then they started to. And then Dan Campbell started to make the 4th down calls. So do we feel like we really, really played our best football and they played their best football and we really prevailed as the better team today? We'll start with you, Nick.
I mean, we definitely played high-tier football. I mean, was it our best? Absolutely not. We're never going to play at it
by far.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Offensively, 100%. Defense, we held our own. We did great. Still let up 42 points, which is sad, But what are you going to do? I mean, we put up 48, and that's all that matters. I mean, they're the number 1 team in the league right now, currently, right? Or did they move down now because the Chiefs won this week?
Well, so now they're number 2. They're second behind the Kansas City Chiefs. They're now 12-2. And they were on an 11-game win streak. Not 11-game win.
Yeah,
11. Yeah.
11. No, they were going for 13. Or no, 11 in a row. They were going for the 13th win. It was 11 games in a row they won.
And Jason, I know obviously you respect the Detroit Lions, but what did you think?
I feel again, I think we kind of, not that we took our foot off the pedal, but I definitely would have liked to have seen a better containment on defense. I mean, obviously we scored more than them. That's the name of the game. But I don't like the 40 points. Like I said before, man, 80 plus points on us in these last 2 games is pretty shitty, I think. So I think we need to definitely tighten that up, man. 20, 25 points or so. I was happy with that when we were starting to pull away, and then we just kind of were like back and forth, and it was like, all right, we got it. As long as we keep marching down the field. I mean, they had no answer for us. Like their defense couldn't stop us for shit.
And that's the biggest thing is, okay, we started off, the Detroit Lions started off with the football. We get a 3-and-out situation. Immediately I'm thinking, okay, we have got to come and put up points. We do. And then we put up another 7 points. And then they score 7 points. I think Detroit was going to never get blown away by us. I never thought Detroit was going to not make it a competitive football game. Let me bring up the stats for you boys. Josh Allen today, 23 for 34, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 254 in the first half. It like blew my mind. I was like, wait, fucking that's like kind of like quiet in a sense, right? But 14 carries, 105 yards. James Cook, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen, 68 yards rushing on 11 carries, 2 touchdowns. Ty Johnson, though, this motherfucker with 5 catches and 114 yards. I didn't think Ty Johnson was going to be the leading receiver today.
No.
I thought Keon Coleman blew Shakir, but it shows there are so many weapons on offense that want a chance to fucking eat too. Everybody wants a little piece of the pie, you know, and that's something that I love seeing from these guys. You got Keon Coleman with a huge. I thought he was going to score.
So did I.
Motherfucker's huge, dude, and he caught that, and that shows that his chemistry with Josh Allen is only going to get better. And this is just a well-balanced offense. Dalton Kincaid was an unsung hero today. Some big catches, you know what I mean? And tough. I love his play. You know, he's aggressive. But let me tell you about the Lions, fellas. This is crazy. 38 for 59, 494 yards, 5 touchdowns, but 3 sacks. And those 3 sacks were the fucking the godsend right there. You know what I'm saying? Amon-Ra St. Brown, 193 yards receiving. Sam Laporta, 111 yards receiving. And that's the thing. You see numbers like that, and it is concerning. Yeah, but at the same time, Detroit fucking brought their firepower. And if you're talking about battleships, you're talking about like the fucking USS Missouri over here, okay? But the fucking Buffalo Bills are an entire fleet. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that they bend, they don't break. And that was a better performance today than it was last week because the Rams aren't the kind of offense the Lions are. So I'm encouraged today. I think the defense has definitely got a lot to build on. Nick, heading into the next game and for the rest of the season, what do you want to see more of the Bills defense do?
Oh man, I just want to see him keep these receivers locked up. I mean, they've been doing a great job of it, but we've been giving up these big plays at the worst times possible. Today, I mean, there was a couple big plays that should have been shut down pretty easily. And I mean, I got to give it to him. St. Brown, he's a great receiver and he does great things for that offense.
He's a dog,
Detroit.
He's a fucking dog.
I mean, we were talking a little bit before him about him, during the game, and man is he's humble. I mean, he's just that kind of guy. He steers away from all negativity at all costs, natural. So I mean, like I said, I mean, today it was a great game. We just gotta get out, and I think we got to see more of that Ed Oliver that we saw today. Yeah. We got to see more of that because like that's a force that gets it going for Greg Rousseau, and I feel like Ed Oliver's Texas mentality, man. He got that I'm about to drive with a pistol and a beer wide open and not give a fuck because it's Texas. Jason, tell me some things that you need to see the Buffalo Bills defense do moving forward to feel like they really could do this whole thing and win a Lombardi Trophy.
That defensive line needs to keep that rolling. We said that for sure in the pregame. It's going to be one in those trenches for sure. As you broke down the runs and the stats there, we didn't keep the offense, the receivers in check, but we kept the running backs in check.
And that was the big thing.
Anything big out of that. That the run defense.
And not for nothing, Jared Goff did throw 59 passes. I'm just saying, like, you're going to throw 59 passes. You better have at least 400. Otherwise, you're looking like a scrap. You know what I mean?
Fucking rubbing it, man. You could tell he was worn out, man.
Quick update. The Packers are up 14-0 on the Seattle Seahawks as the second quarter is now underway. Sabres lost again today. Fellas, I think this is what we have today. Josh Allen is going to win the MVP. The Buffalo Bills are going to really show the world something different this year. I also think it's just a great time to be a Buffalo Bills fan, and I'm excited going forward. So, guys, make sure you tune in Friday for the sit-down at about 7 p.m. Eastern time right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. But if you're not able to catch the live versions of this show, it's available via audio podcast with myself, the Sauce God at Buffalo, Sauce God across the social medias. My guy here, Nickel, big-time gamer, by the way. Dude knows his shit. Dude knows his fucking football. He plays semi-professional football right here, representing Western New York. We love that. And he was about to throw his jersey on a couple times during the game and fucking head out there.
I thought about it.
But he might have been mistaken for the Lions. And also, my guy here, Mo Down, who runs the Zuba Zone 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store. Make sure you guys tune in with us Friday. We have a great show coming up. And also for the Bills pregame, postgame show right here in the Bills Bar, or the Mafia Sports Bar on Facebook and YouTube Live with myself and the guys. Jason, any final thoughts?
Not really, man. Pretty happy with the turnout. It's about the way that we called it. It was going to be a shootout. I saw us coming out on top, man. We really played the way we needed to. Again, I just wish that secondary needs to kind of tighten up a little bit.
And we got one more final message from the most important fan today, who has got one thing to say before we get ourselves heading out.
Go Bills!
And
Yeah.
that was, I'll go Bills and AAA. Bills win 48-42. Make sure to tune in us on Fridays and for Bills post-game and pre-game show with our guy Josh Allen, myself, Sauce Guy, Nickel, Modown, and all the other guys right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. God bless every single one of you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stand tall, and as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.
You got press end stream. All right, man. Hell to the yeah.